Hi there, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my 1979 Lotus Esprit S2 which is behind me. I'm sat in the driver's seat but not in the car anymore, as those of you who have been following would have seen in my previous episode of my interior strip. I've got the seats out, did some of the engine bay trim, etc, but I got a bit stuck and that was primarily due to rusted screws and bolts and that kind of thing. And I thought in this video what I'd end up doing is doing a bit of a comparison between different ways of getting rusted screws out and that kind of stuff. So for example, drilling them out or using a Dremel to cut a little notch in the top of the screw to get a screwdriver on and undo it. But somebody, the last time I put the video up, recommended some special pliers. So I went and bought them. They're made by company called Engineer or something like that, and they're called the Negisaurus, and the bigger one is the Negisaurus RX or Rex or whatever. And I was a bit skeptical about using these on the screws. I thought, oh, these aren't going to work. But so I started off by using them because I thought, well, I'll try these first. If they don't work, then I'll move on to the more sort of harsh methods. But I was so surprised that these worked exactly as advertised, and the screws came out relatively easily. So if anybody's got rusted screws, these pliers are an absolute lifesaver, and heartily recommended. I think these are actually cheaper versions of another type of precision plier like these, and they're different because they've got the sort of teeth facing a different way and kind of grip onto the screw heads a bit better. I can't remember the name of the more expensive ones, but these seem to work fine. So get yourself some of these pliers if you can, if you need to get some rusted screws out. Very good, these. So with these in use, I was able to remove some of the dashboard which was stopping me, and I've got one side of it here which you can see the corrosion along the bottom there. So I'm going to have to either try and save this by repainting it, but I'm a bit worried about getting these like decals and things sorted on here, or decals, whatever you want to call them. And you can buy replacements, so I think I might have to just get a replacement one, unfortunately. I might give it a go trying to restore this, but it might just be easier and probably quicker and cheaper just to buy a replacement. I think I can still save all of the stuff behind here and some of the switch gear. Like, these switches seem fine, dirty, but probably would clean up okay, although saying that, a spring has just jumped out of it, so maybe not. But yeah, the two sides are relatively easy to get out after you've undone the screws, and there's a few things obviously connected to the back here. So there were some cables which needed a bit of a reach in with a spanner just to undo some of the things that are holding the cables in place and release the tension off them and pull them out. But the tricky bit was the instrument cluster. So comparing an S2 to an S1, this is one of the differences between them. So in the S1, you had a Veglia or Velia, however you pronounce it, cluster of gauges, and it's just like a box with all the gauges inside. And I don't know how that attaches, whether it's just one plug or if there's lots of little things that go into the back of it. But because these are individual Smith's gauges, each one has got its own plug and light supply and everything like that. So it's a bit more tricky to undo everything, and crucially remember where everything came from. So I took lots of photographs, but I haven't labelled anything up, and that's probably going to be to my detriment at a later stage. One thing I had to break was this oil pressure tube. It just wasn't coming off, so I had to just snip through that. I probably have to replace that anyway, so no real hardship there. And I think some of these gauges might need to be replaced based on how rusty they are. One thing that surprised me was all of these lights down here for like little warning lamps were all well, they're really grotty. You can see here some of the quality of the plastic really isn't that great, and it's all thin and flimsy. So I'm wondering how much of this stuff I'm going to be able to save, because some of them did break on the way out. So yeah, that's that. So I mean, I'm super pleased I've actually got it out, but I don't really want to think about the time when I have to come to put it all back together, because it's going to be really tricky figuring out where everything went. That's that. One of the things that interested me actually when I was taking apart the dashboard was inside behind this panel actually, just sat behind it, was what looked like a miniature distributor, and it was Lucas branded. I was a bit intrigued by what it was, and it has a sort of nest or snakes of wires coming out of it, and what it is a fibre optic light source, which I think is pretty interesting for the time. You think of fibre optics as being sort of a more modern thing, but I guess it was a bit more sort of space agey in the 70s. But yeah, fibre optics lighting up some of these instruments. You can kind of see these plastic trims around the edge of the instruments. That's where the fibre optic end kind of goes in, and I guess the plastic sort of lights up the switch from behind. And yeah, pretty cool, I thought, to find something like that in there. So getting all this dashboard stuff out took a little bit of time and a bit of effort. And then the actual instrument binnacle itself, once you've got all of the bits and pieces out, is actually just 4 bolts and lift straight off. But what you're left behind with is a complete mess of wires poking out of the dashboard, which is quite stressful to look at when you think about where all those bits had to have come from somewhere and remembering it. But yeah, that's future me's problem, not my problem today. So next step then is to try and just take off some more interior trim. So the actual sort of dashboard fascia itself, I want to try and get that out, and the centre console and things like that. So I might have to use my pliers again. But yeah, I'll show you the state of the car, what it's like at the moment, and you can get a feel for what's going on. Okay, so we are now looking inside the car again, and you can see that nest of wires that I mentioned before. It does look a bit stressful with all these bulbs all differently coloured because they all went to different warning lamps, and I've labelled up some of the switches just to know, all the plugs that go in the back of the switches just to know where they came from. And this is that weird fibre optic light source that I mentioned earlier, as well as some sort of trunking for the face level ventilation and the screen. So next step then is to try and see if we can get things like this off here. I don't want to get rid of this centre console because then that lets me free up things like the choke cable and the speedo drive and the oil pressure line there, and start getting things like that out of the car, because it's all these bits and pieces as well as the steering column that need to come off in order to get the body off the car, and then that's when we can start looking at the chassis and stuff. But that's kind of a bit further down the road, after a bit more sort of trim and things need to come out. So we found here a bit of an example of another rusted screw just underneath the dashboard, and when I've tried to get a screwdriver on it, it just doesn't grip. Just spins round and round. It's all rusted. It's all corroded. So the screwdriver just doesn't work. So I tried my pliers on them again, and you can hear it like clicking as it's gripping onto this screw, and it does just turn it ever so slightly. I'm just amazed that these grip the way they do. Just a little by little, free the screw off. So it does take a bit of time to release it, but this is way better than having to drill stuff out. And then it probably gets to a point where you can get a little bit of grip with a screwdriver. Let's see. See, the screwdriver still doesn't work, but these pliers are just awesome. There, lifesaver. Right, so I've been wrestling with this dashboard and I can't seem to get it out. I'm sort of running out of time today, so I might have to come back and continue this another day. But I did start on working on this back panel here, which is kind of being held in at the moment by the seat belts, and to get the seat belts undone you have to break some rivets to get these sort of inner sill panels out, and that will allow me to release the handbrake mechanism there as well. But yeah, anyway, this back panel, it's come off, which is good. I had to use my pliers again to get the rusty screws out, but you can see some factory fresh plastic on the back of the armrest there, so I wonder if that's an original feature or not. But the thing that kind of interests me about these interior panels is just kind of a bit of a, I'm not sure if it's a unique feature of this particular car or if it's apparent in other makes, but it's the first time I've seen it. And this kind of like wooden dowel like trim mounting system that they've got going on here, kind of a bit of furniture, I guess. You have these wooden dowels that clip into these clips in all parts of the car. There's one up here as well, just above my head, and this is what the interior trim kind of clips onto. I guess it's lightweight and seems to work okay, but you can see the clips there, they just kind of go onto the wooden dowels and sort of clip in place there. Just quite interesting. I've just never seen that before, so I'm interested to know if that's a unique Lotus type of solution to clipping in trim or not. So I might have to call it there today, because like I said, I'm running out of time a bit, but I feel like I've made quite a bit of progress getting the dashboard out of there, and I'll show you the binnacle back. So this is the binnacle itself that came out, and this was relatively easy to pull out, and I think this is completely savable. I'm not going to have to do too much to this except retrim it, I don't think, and I'll just clean up some of these more rusty brackets, just a bit of wire brush or something like that, repaint it and put it back again. Same with this vent, I think that's savable as well. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how today's gone. It's nice when you get sort of a significant bit of progress. So getting that dash out, I was dreading that, but it wasn't actually too bad once I got my pliers involved. So yeah, this is probably the end of part 2 of the interior strip. I only really want to do one more of these interior strip videos before getting on to more mechanical stuff in this car. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this is entertaining. I'm kind of using these videos for a bit of reference for myself, so I can look back on them once it's all done and see what was involved in stripping this car down. But yeah, let me know if you want to see any different parts of the Lotus, any extra content that I can make while I'm doing this. I'm trying not to do a how-to, because I don't really know how to, and I'm kind of discovering as I go. But any useful stuff I'll share with you. But yeah, until the next time, see you later. Bye bye.